Did you know that the original gameplay plans for Diablo was going to be turn-based? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 165. My name is Gareth Bryan, I'm going to be your host. On my virtual left is Mr. James Burke. How you doing, James?
Hello, not too bad. I mean, I could be playing Puzzle Quest 3, but here I am.
It could be, yeah.
So let's make it worthwhile. Have a good time.
I hope you can live up to the expectations of Puzzle Quest 3.
I'm sure it will.
On my virtual...
I'm sure about this one.
My virtual right is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
Good evening, Gareth. Unlike certain members of the podcast, I'll not try and pad my part here. I'll just say I'm doing very well, thank you very much, and I'm not playing Puzzle Quest 3.
Good. And on my virtual opposite, back for a long time, it's been a long time, is Mr. William Caruana. How you doing, William? How you doing?
I am doing very well, and you nailed the name. So
I did I?
Well done.
It's because I did.
Welcome.
Because I didn't think
First
about
time
it.
ever.
Great to be back.
William, when's the last time you were on?
I want to say late 2021 at this point.
I think so, yeah.
I was finishing up a master's, getting into the habit of working, and now I'm back.
And William, how's it all been going on? How's it been going on? Have you finished? How's it? Because William lives in Toronto, Canada. I always like to mention this. And how's it all going there? What you been doing?
Everything's going great, I finished up my master's. I'm working in events now, but obviously I'm still contributing to Xbox Hub. A lot of exciting stuff going on in the field of Xbox. I'm actually hosting a screening party of the showcase next week in a small theater I rented. So
brilliant.
it's just a very exciting time.
Maybe we can come over there.
Oh, there's 10 tickets available still.
Oh, great. Okay. Let's get us there.
Let's have a word with Neil and see if he'll sponsor us to go over.
Yeah. William, what have you been doing this week?
Honestly, this week has been a bit quiet. I did, however, get to catch up with a couple of friends from Montreal, so we met over the weekend. We went to the only cheesecake factory here in Toronto. We ended up waiting an hour for a table, so that was quite messy, but the food was good. Wow. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Oh, I could do with some cheesecake now. Paul, what about you? Big cheesecake fan?
You have to really like cheesecake to queue for an hour to get some. I mean, flipping out. I do love a cheesecake. Obviously, in my pre-diabetic days, they're not so good now. They are the enemy. But other than that, I've just been doing the usual, really. We went to the cinema for the first time in a long time and watched Guardians 3, which was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. And went fishing 3 times over the 4-day weekend that I've just had. So, yeah, quite enjoyed myself.
Oh, good. And did you like Guardians? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I did enjoy Guardians.
Yeah,
it was fantastic. What I really want, you know how they make the pop figures of the Guardians characters now?
Yeah. What
I want is, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's one bit where Groot goes absolutely crazy with some guns, and that would make the best pop figure ever.
Good.
I really want that.
Great. I do too.
There you go. James there. What about you, James? How's your week been?
Well, I'd love to say I've done a lot. I'd love to say I've been to 2 concerts. But in reality, I've been listening to 2 concerts that went on down the road from me, about 5 minutes away. This weekend, there was a Queen concert and an ABBA concert. And from my house, you could hear it. It was really entertaining.
Could you see it as well?
No, and there's no lights or anything. It's a shame it was a bit too bright out, because it would be nice to have some lighting, some effects. But yeah, it was a tribute act, obviously, to Queen. It wasn't really Queen.
I was going to say, unless Freddie's come back.
I mean, you never know. You never know these days.
You never do.
Say never. I also watched Barry. the finale of Barry this week, which I know no spoilers, but it was probably one of the best finales I've seen for a while of any series. I don't know if you've seen it, Gareth.
I have.
But I think it was definitely... It ended on a natural end rather than like most series where it goes on and on and on. I think it was really well done, the whole series.
Yeah. I think that's my week, really, because I've had a very sad last 2 days because I've watched 3 of my favourite series end. And I've got another one I'm going to watch tonight.
Was on the Flash?
Yeah. The Arrowverse. I was hanging on to the end.
It's finally over.
No, I had Barry, which is, like James just said, a fantastic end to the series. If you haven't seen it, it's on Now TV or Sky Atlantic. Succession, which is a kind of masterclass in writing and acting, and I had a very good ending as well. And The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is on Amazon UK. If you haven't seen that, Fire series is a fantastic series, brilliantly done. It's about comedy, and yeah, it's beautiful. That was again another brilliant. And then now I've watched the last Ted Lasso. I think is on this week, so very sad. I don't know what I'm going to watch. But we've got games to play, haven't we? Look at that link. That's good, isn't it?
I can see why you're the host.
Yeah, smooth.
Finally.
Yeah.
Segway master.
On experience.
We're going to talk about 2 games each this week. Who should we start with? Let's start with William. Let's start with you. What's your first game?
It's been a while, yeah. Tears of the Kingdom. I'm hopelessly addicted to it. It's so fun. I've already unlocked all the towers. Now I'm going through the story. It's just pretty much everything I could have hoped for in a sequel to Breath of the Wild. And the funniest thing is, for the first 2 hours, I didn't really like it. But once I got used to those controls, it just felt so good.
Why didn't you like it, first of all? Is it the controls?
Yeah, the controls are a little bit much to get used to at first. It's the sort of thing that would feel probably better on a keyboard and mouse, but once you get used to them, it's pretty amazing the stuff you can do in this game. Like, I've seen people building life-size replicas of Metal Gears and building the tower of 37 trees all stuck together and climbing to the top of it. It's really something. It's a very good game.
So, I don't know, because I haven't got a Switch and I didn't play Breath of the Wild. And has it got, what you're saying in it, has it got a kind of crafty open world feel to it as well? Can you do creative things in it like you're talking about?
Yeah, it's certainly an evolution of it. They do reuse a lot of the assets from the first game, so the world, Hyrule is still the same, but they sort of add on top and below it without going into too many spoilers here. But in terms of the systems, I'd say it actually reminds me a lot of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, if they sort of took that to the next level. And it is funny in that game has sort of been vindicated over the years by people who have gone back and said, oh, you know what, this is really good, actually. And they sort of adapt that into Zelda, so to speak. You can build cars, you can build skateboards, you can attach a mine cart to a shield, jump on the shield, and then grind the mine cart rails like it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It's just a lot of different things like that. It's very fun.
How long is the game to compare? You haven't completed it yet, have you?
Too bloody long. From what I've heard from friends, anywhere from 50 to 70 hours. So let's put it this way. I don't suspect I'll beat this one this year. I don't suspect I'll beat Starfield this year, and I'm totally happy with
that. Good. Paul, what's your first game?
My first game is going to be a game called Drift CE or Drift C or something. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. And basically, it's like, you know, the mechanic simulator games. If that and Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift had a little baby, it would be this game. So the game's split into 2 halves. You've got a part where you're in the garage and you get your base car and you can change all of the things on it. apart from tyres, which I'm having a real trouble fitting to the car. I've got no idea how to get them on the rims. But you can swap out the engine, you can swap out the exhaust, you can swap out all the body panels. It's really good building your own car. You have to put it on the dyno and test it, and then move it back to the ramp and lift it in the air and change all the bits. So that's great fun. And then you get to take the monstrosity that you've created out onto the track and do some sort of missions in various locations, all involving the noble art of drifting. And it's a lot of fun. I'm really having quite a good time with it. It's incredibly hard. When you think, I play Forza Horizon 5, I know how to drift. And then you go to a game like this where it's a lot more serious. It's very tricky to keep a drift going, but it's a great challenge and one that I'm enjoying playing currently.
This game sounds awful, but it sounds like...
It does say on the box, not for Gareth.
It does sound like it's the perfect game for you, drifting and also customization.
Drifting and fiddling bits with cars, yeah, and you can colour them in and everything. It's great. So look out for an upcoming review when I can actually find 5 minutes to write something down. Is it a full price game? I don't know. That sounds far too much like you'd expect me to do some research, Gareth.
Right, there you go. That's what we like to hear.
This is why we come here, for the facts.
Any questions about Drift CE?
It's 25 quid, by the way.
Thank you, James.
There you go. So it's not a full price game then.
Good. Okay. Good. James, what about you? Oh, go on, James.
One more question.
Oh, hello. Yeah. Yes.
What locations do you drive in? Is it any famous ones?
There seem to be, the ones I've raced so far are in Japan. There are none that I recognise, but they're all sort of closed tracks. There's none of this hooning around the streets and driving irresponsibly, or indeed parking up and looking in the shop windows like certain people that we know. But yeah, other than that, it's properly challenging. That's the thing I like about it. You've got to drive the car. There's none of this hand-holding traction control nonsense.
Okay, great. Good. Not for you, James. Not for me.
Not for you, James. Probably not for anybody apart from me.
Yeah.
So,
James, what's your first game?
Well, this one might be for you, Gareth, because it's a fighting game that's for people who aren't familiar with fighting games or are just really rubbish at fighting games. It's called Verdict Guilty. It's a retro-inspired cops versus robbers themed fighting game. So it's going to be a bit like Street Fighter back in the day, or Fatal Fury. And there's a story to it. Basically, it's based in a Neo version of Seoul in South Korea, and the police officers are patrolling the streets because there's a new crime wave, loads of terrorist attacks going on. So you're basically playing out fights between the terrorists and the cops. And even though it's not the best story in the world,
never.
No, it's not. I'm disappointed to tell you this. It is actually quite an interesting fighting game.
Right.
Because in the story mode, every round in the story mode, you have different objectives to do. And they kind of teach you the mechanics of the game. So in the first round, you might only be able to do punches or kicks. And the next one, you can use a special item. Like some have got guns. Some can bring their dog in to do an attack. Or a homing pigeon, which is quite different. Because why not?
A homing pigeon. Don't leave home without one, criminals.
Exactly. You use a taser, and you even got handcuffs. You put the handcuffs on, they can't block anything for a certain amount of time. So it is very different to your average fighting game.
Yeah.
It is a little bit short on the old longevity now. After you play the story mode and, try it with a few different characters, There's not much else to keep me going.
It's not multiplayer.
I play there's local multiplayer,
Okay.
but not online, which is missing. But I can understand why. It's quite a cheap game. It's like £7.
Right.
You can't expect online. Yeah, it's good for a little few hours here and there. You know what I mean? And then put it away for the rest of the year. I get it 3.5.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Is it as awful as it sounds?
No, honestly, I sold it quite badly.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it sounds awful.
The fighting is really cool. You know, there's some really different attacks. And it's interesting to have to dodge the bullets and fire them back and stuff like that. Oh.
It's an old school sort of 90s fighter, isn't it? Arcade fighter.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they like those kind of games. And, it's something different.
Yeah. Ah, good. Sorry if you heard a little creak then. That was just a door in my haunted house opening. Right.
There was someone coming to complain about the choice of games.
It's the ghost. Yes.
Yeah. My first game is a game called After Us. And it's a game that I think came out last week. Our reviews on the website. After Us is a platform game. I think platform, maybe an open world 3D platform game in that I'm trying to think of a comparison, maybe something like Inside or maybe not Inside. But you play. The idea is that it's the world is finished. Environmental disaster, everything's gone, all the animals are gone, all the humans have gone. And you play Gaia, who goes out into the world, and you're trying to get the spirits of all the animals back again to the place called Ark, which is like a sort of sanctuary. And then basically your idea is you're going to get all the spirits of the animals and then you're going to reboot the world. So when you go into 8 sort of areas, you go through these areas and they're like kind of abstract, surreal kind of places of where these environmental disasters might happen. So you might have one in the ocean, you might have one, you have one in the whole set in a shopping mall, and it's all that kind of like a comment on commercialism and the environment. And then you might have one set in a factory, and so it goes. So it has all these kind of areas, but you travel through these kind of like very kind of big open world areas, and your task is try to get to the boss of each one, which is like the spirit of one animal. But at the time, you can go and collect all the spirits of the other animals. And the moment you start to collect those spirits, so if you find a dog or a badger or a lion, they will just start, the ghosts of them just start to appear in the levels with you as you're going along. So you'll just see them hanging out by the side or stuff like that. And I really loved it. I was nearly going for a 5 at one point, but it's a couple of little glitchy bits. I had an early code, and some of the combat, there's little combat areas that gets quite annoying. It's your usual platform, you can jump and stuff, but you have special abilities. You have this kind of ball of light that you can throw out, and that will do certain things, like in combat it will knock some of the enemies back, or it will kind of, if you press it hard enough, it will make a whole areas green for a moment, like temporary. So it's quite a nice little effect as well. It's quite a hard message. It's quite, some might say it's quite depressing. So, because you're seeing a kind of like end of world thing that's pretty similar to some of the stuff that's happening now. So it has quite a strong message, and maybe that message is quite hard on some people. It depends how you do it. If you've got I think the problem is if you look at it and go, I can't deal with anything like that, that it's too close to home, you might have a problem playing with it. But if you don't, or you're concerned about stuff, and it's just a really nice kind of like maybe message-based game. But the open world areas look fantastic. For a kind of indie company, they've done an amazing job. So visually, it's stunning. And there's this soundtrack as well that goes along with 35 original songs. It's beautiful. So yeah, I really recommend it. If you like your kind of platforms, you like games like Inside, kind of Limbo. I'm trying to think of another one I've played with, Somerville maybe. You'll like this. After Us. There we go. Any questions before I move on to William? Nothing.
How
Silence.
many animals do you save?
Loads.
Stunned silence.
Can you name them all?
Yes, I can, but not today. I'll do it later on for you.
There's Dave and Steve.
I'll ring you up.
What monkeys?
Yeah, there's monkeys.
You say
There.
monkeys?
Yeah, there's a monkey.
Oh,
in there.
I'm in.
Yeah, good. You're in. It's not for Paul. Right, William.
No, I'm finding it difficult to care. I have to be honest.
William, do you care, William?
I have been playing Eastern Exorcist as well.
Right.
And this game, I just got the review out on the site. It hit Game Pass, I want to say, like 2 weeks ago now. The 18th, I believe. And it's interesting. You know, it's a first-time developer, I believe, based in China. The game is published by Bilibili, which, if that name sounds familiar, that is sort of like China's answer to YouTube or Nico Nico.
Oh.
And the game is a sort of 2D side-scrolling hack-and-slash type game. They call it an RPG or a Metroidvania. There aren't really massive RPG elements or Metroidvania elements, but it's just a really nice, fun game. It's completely hand-drawn. The combat feels really smooth, really responsive. The skill trees that are there are good and pretty in-depth. You aren't going to finish anyone in a given playthrough. I mean, you technically can, but there's no real reason to. But, you know, it's got some areas where some polish is needed. For instance, a couple of the achievement pops are just outright untranslated, and the game's cutscenes are so compressed they kind of look like 2006 YouTube.
Nice.
But really, it's a good game. It's got some good heart, and I think above all, it's just a really exciting calling card for this team. So I'm certainly excited to see what they make next.
Yeah, Eastern Exodus. It does look good. So it's a Metroidvania kind of game.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Technically, but it's very linear in its approach. So while there are some side quests and there are a couple instances of backtracking, it's largely sort of point A to B.
Right. Okay. Well, looks interesting. I'm just looking at a bit of it now. Yeah. Good. Okay, Eastern Exorcist. And has your review up, or
it's up. I think I gave it an 8. It was sort of those ones that's sort of right on the cusp of a 7 or an 8, but you know what? Give it an 8.
An 8. What's that? That's a 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
8 out of 10, 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right.
Good.
I was going to say, if 8 out of 5, I'll go and play it now.
Yeah. Paul, what have you got? Have you got an 8 out of 5?
I haven't got an 8 out of 5 game. I've got the exact opposite. I'm going to change what I've written down a little bit and talk about. Yeah, well, not even that, mate. Honestly, Neil had to talk me up to give it a 1. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
So the game I'm going to talk about is called Boss Rush Mythology. I didn't put it on the list. I thought I'll just keep Gareth on his toes with the edit and talk about it instead. Basically, it was sold to me as promising Souls-like combat against a variety of mythological creatures. So like things from, the Cerberus and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, Souls-like combat and these sort of creatures, that does sound quite exciting. And then I actually played the game, and it's all right, apart from the graphics, the gameplay, the controls, and everything else. If you play it on easy mode, the enemies fall over if you just even look at them. But there's no rewards in the achievement setup to make you play it on a harder level. So you can finish the entire game, get all the 1000G, just by having enemies that fall over if you give them a hard look. And honestly, it's the worst game I've played this year. It really, really is bad. So, they say that games reviewers don't do public service. Well, I've played this game so you don't have to, dear listener. It's absolutely terrible. The character looks like, you know, those you can get those mannequins from art supply shops that supposedly teach you how to draw people, and you can sort of position them. You know the ones I mean? Yeah, the main character looks like that, with a sword that doesn't seem to be attached to him in any way. The enemies, some of the tracking on the attacks they do is ridiculous. I'm fighting a guy with a big sword. He starts to attack me. I roll behind him, and the tracking on the attack is so strong that the sword goes through his body and still hits me.
Wow.
And, you know, honestly, mate, not even you would play this. I know you like a Souls-like, but this has never been a Souls-like in its life. So, yeah, terrible. Avoid at all costs.
There you go. And this is coming from Paul. Okay, don't play this.
What? I've only played great games like Alien.
We're not going to talk about Aliens.
Fireteam Elite is a great game.
Okay, terrible. All right, good. James,
Honestly, mate, yeah, it's the worst one of the year.
Okay, wow. James, have you got anything better than that?
I have. I've got a very good point-and-click adventure called Lucid Dreaming. And it's a very British point-and-click adventure. So it's set in a small town called Biddington, and you play as Lucy. Now, Lucy has nightmares every night, and the main purpose of the game is to stop having nightmares by doing tons and tons of adventure-based puzzles. I mean, that's the game, but it's much better than how I'm describing it. Now, something else going on in Biddington, something very dark, and you need to find out what it is. And that might solve the lack of sleep it keeps getting. But it's very old school, Monkey Island kind of setup.
Right.
So you've got, the cursor, crosshairs on the screen, and you can look at things, pick things up, talk, and your adventure is always on show. The puzzles are more or less straightforward. There's a few that were a bit weird, like you had to put a puffer fish onto a doormat to de-sharpen its clanks.
Of course.
So you can use it to fix your tyre on your little bike. Does that make sense? Obviously.
Absolutely.
But there's a really cool idea, and it involves a dream box. And whatever you put in the dream box, it creates a new setting for Lucy when she goes to sleep. So it takes you to different worlds.
Right.
I end up talking to crabs, trolls from Liverpool. And that's not even it's true.
Spoken like a Man United fan.
And it's very British in the way that when you go into town, there's a Happy Shoppy rather than a Happy Shopper. And you have Jamie Rogers, I think it's Fruity Shooties, stuff like that. And you're even swapping stickers at one point, Panini stickers. It's really, you've got to play it to understand how funny it actually is. Because I laughed so much, way too much for a game that, was quite tricky at times. But I was still laughing at the weirdness. I mean, there's even a vicar that's obsessed with this whole Hollywood type character. And he keeps saying, breast is their best. And it's just random moments like that make you go, it's really, it's a nice British humour concept for the whole game. I end up poisoning the vicar. Spoiler alert.
Spoil.
He must have got it toilet with Fruity Shooties. There you go. Don't drink too many of them, children.
Yeah. Gameplay tips from James.
Any questions?
Is it a Gareth game, would you say?
I think you would enjoy it. Well, it's got voiceovers and stuff. It's all very British. A lot of northern accents.
Oh, Gareth wouldn't like it then.
No.
No, he's among the people. You don't mind knowing
As long as the people aren't northern.
Is it a kids' game?
I don't know. But there's a little bit of swearing in it.
Right.
You can turn it off. And it's how much is it? Check. I think it was £14 or £15. But it is very, very good. I give it a 4.5.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
If you read the review, you understand it a bit more.
So,
And the references are just brilliant.
okay.
So many references.
Lucid Dreaming. Thank you, James. I'm going to really briefly just talk about 2 games, but I'm going to do it so briefly. Jedi Survivor, which we've talked about before, I finished that game. It's a very good game. If you fancy the Star Wars game, it's better than the first one. They've done a brilliant job there. Lots of great locations. The fighting's amazing. Give that a go. Great story as well. And I think Neil reviewed this Planet of Lana, which came out on the Game Pass on the 26th. It's a platform game. I played it EGX maybe a year ago, but a little bit, and it's a fantastic game. I think it's kind of it didn't get much press. It got some great reviews, fantastic reviews. It hasn't. But if you've got Game Pass, you should definitely give this game a go. It's a really, really well crafted platform game in this brilliant world. Looks wonderful. Yeah, give it a go. I think Neil gave it 4.5. Imagining that. I can't confirm that, but I'm going for that. Good. Let's move on from games into some game news. Now, there was something that happened today which I thought might be quite nice just to chat about. Xbox did a little kind of video tease, which is quite nice, and everyone's going, they think it's Fable coming up for it's basically teasing the showcase, and there's a little kind of video. Have you seen it, any of you?
Yeah. The glitter trail.
Yeah, so it's this kind of like really nice thing about someone following a glitter trail from the controller, and they come onto, and then you see the Xbox showcase, and so everyone's, because of the glitter trail of Fable games, everyone's just thinking, oh, this must be Fable that's going to be announced. I'm just going to chat to all of you now, just to have a little think. What do you think is going to be announced? Maybe, and I'm putting you on the spot here a bit. What do you think is going to be? Not what you hope. What do you think is going to be in the showcase? William, what do you think? What are you going for? Maybe.
Okay, I really want Fable to be there, but before this video, I didn't think it was going to be there. And as someone who has been in marketing for a little bit, trust me, you sometimes miss the forest for the trees here. This could have easily been trying to get something else hyped up. In terms of what I think is going to be there, Hellblade seems overdue. Avowed seems overdue. They said that was coming soon 2 years ago. I think it's about time we see that. There are a couple of smaller projects that I know are coming and will probably be at that showcase. One's called The Wandering Tower, for instance. That's by the team that did the Banner Saga, and that's being published by Xbox. I think we'll see that there. Other than that, we're obviously seeing Forza. We're obviously seeing Starfield. And I think we could see a couple of other first parties announced games. I know that Double Fine's been working on this multiplayer thing called Kiln for a while. It was part of their Amnesia Fortnite about 6 years ago. If you watch the documentary, they played a lot. I think that's probably going to be shown here. I think the team Compulsion, who did We Happy Few, are long overdue an announcement of what they're doing. And then, obviously, the hope is that we'll see something from Fable or Perfect Dark or State of Decay or Everwild or Contraband, or preferably multiples of those.
Wow, there you go. Williams covered it all. Paul, what are you hoping to see?
I just agree with William. He's obviously a lot more clever than we are. So I think, to be honest, as long as it's got Starfield there and it doesn't upset everybody like Redfall did, then I think we can count it as a win. So beyond that, I don't really know. I mean, Fable would be nice. I did enjoy playing the games previously. But other than that, yeah, it's Starfield all the way for me.
Okay. James?
I think we'll see. One thing that William didn't mention was Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll see a bit more of that game.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't the film coming out soon?
It's now, June.
There
I
is a
think.
film out soon. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was
July.
They want to tie it in, won't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what would be amazing? I'm not sure if they're ready to show gameplay of Indiana Jones. I hope so, but whether they show gameplay or just reveal the title, because we don't even know what it's called technically. If they could get Harrison Ford out on stage to announce it, have that be the Keanu moment, and actually get him to smile, that would be priceless.
Good. Yeah, I think you've covered everything really. I think I've got this feeling. Yeah, I mean it's interesting because the autumn's already getting quite busy. October looks mad now with the announcements we've had of Alan Wake, Alone in the Dark. Now that's come out. That came out after the PlayStation Showcase. In October, we've got Lords of the Fallen. We've got Mirage, Assassin's Creed. It's getting compact already, So, and September is Starfield. So what? I think we've got Forza. I think Forza and I've got things. The ones that maybe are getting announced for the autumn. I've just got this feeling Forza and Hellblade. Hellblade November. I don't know. I've got this feeling.
Yeah.
Forza's going to be great.
Yeah. But will there be a surprise drop, do you think? Like, this is out now. It'll be an indie game.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. We don't. Hopefully something quite nice. I think they might do so.
I think they'll do it. Now, granted, the one difficulty there is I'm not sure if they're necessarily going to have a game ready to shadow drop the way they did Hi-Fi, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did at least a beta. If it was something like, and you can play the Forza Motorsport beta today, or something like that, Contraband Open Alpha. I could see something like that for sure.
Yeah.
Like they did with Halo. Remember when they released that just 4 weeks early by surprise?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, there is there could be a new Gears just being mentioned. That could be a thing. Not that it won't have anything to show because they just mentioned it's in development.
They just show a gear. Just take it off the screen.
Yeah, just
yeah, it would be that, wouldn't it? Yeah. Also, Arc 2. Didn't talk about that. That was meant to be in last year's lineup in the year. That could be there. But we'll see. We'll find out very soon. Let's just chat about games that we know that are coming out for June. And we're going to just go over I'm just going to go over... We've got a little article up written by Dave Ozzie. 13 best Xbox games. We can just go through some of them, see if people are excited. We did this last month, didn't we? For me. Yep. Street Fighter 6. That's coming out on Friday this week. Anyone a big... James, you love a Street Fighter game, do you?
Not this one. No. I don't know. I think it's the art style that just put me off. It's going too modern for me.
Right.
Give me some 2D graphics. That's what I want. Like 2D.
It's getting some great reviews.
It looks good.
Yeah.
You can play it.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
That'd be good. Yeah. Great.
Gareth's the aged arthritic figures. That would be great.
But you can't pick the panda. That's a different game.
That's a different game. I did think the panda was in this one. William, you a big Street Fighter fan?
I like the games. I had a lot of fun playing them at the local pizza shop for a while. I don't think I'm necessarily going to jump into 6 because there's just so much to play right now. But it does seem the type of game I'd probably pick up on Black Friday or Boxing Day. If that makes sense.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Paul can't play. He's too old.
I guess I'm going to have to do the review then, aren't I? Since none of you guys
You can't do it, Paul. You're 55.
Listen.
Right.
You cheeky bleeder. I'm barely 50. I'm a lot younger than you are. All the time.
Alan Partridge.
As you could tell with my hairline still being where it should be.
Okay, we'll move on. Street Fighter 6. We'll get someone young to do that one. It's one of the youngsters.
Yeah, one of the young kids.
We love Katamari, reroll. Plus Katamari, little kind of like a reshaping of the game. I haven't played these in years. Anyone fancy these?
Nope.
Good. James, William?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know about it.
You've played it
I
before,
never
haven't you?
enjoyed the original.
Oh, there you go. It's not for you.
It's got annoying.
No, there you go. I think a lot of people love this. I think it's a little updated version. And these are the bunker. I think Darren's reviewing this for us at this moment in time.
Can't wait for that one.
You should do a let's
It's really
play.
scary.
It is very
Oh,
scary.
what a good idea. I didn't think of that. No.
This is coming to Game Pass, so we'll all have a go at playing it. I think it's a very it's like you're in a bunker in World War One. It's a very kind of like, I think you've got very limited ammo, and it's I've seen the demo being played a few times. The demo came out and people have been let's playing that. It does look very scary, and really it's all stealth and survival. William, do you like a bit of amnesia?
Honestly, I'll give it a shot on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It does look scary, though.
It does look scary. Diablo 4, that's coming out. When is that?
We're talking.
Is that Friday?
That is Friday, yeah.
Who's reviewing this for us? Is it James?
I hope not. I've been dropping many hints.
You got to get your other reviews in yet, Paul. You got to finish those up.
Don't you worry about that. The decks will be cleared for Diablo.
Diablo 4. So, Paul, tell us about this. Why are you excited about it?
It's going to be awesome. I wrote a little thingy after playing the beta, just about what a lot of fun it was. It's like taking everything that was great about Diablo 3 and turned it up a notch. It's reviewing really well from what I've seen so far. But the bits that I played through the betas, I just loved it. It was everything you could want from a Diablo game. So, the setting, the way the story was told, everything else, it just looked fantastic. And the controls were, even in a beta, the controls were brilliant. And just give me the game and I will review it quite happily.
James, you want to review this as well?
I think I'll have to call some favours and do this one.
Yeah.
I think you'll have to get in the queue, young James.
It's my 10-year anniversary.
Oh yeah, you've done the whole 10 years. Yeah, you're the champion. You're the
I have to pull rank on
that one. Yeah.
This may be my last podcast, listeners.
William, you a Diablo fan?
I am. I loved 3. Immortal was okay. I need to play 2. So I played a ton of the beta for 4. I thought it was really great. The only thing that's difficult for me is, do I cave and buy it, or do I hold out hope that this Activision Blizzard Microsoft nightmare is going to end soon and I can finally just get in Game Pass? Yeah. That's the only debate for me.
Yeah.
But regardless, I'm going to be playing it by the end of the year. This is going to be amazing.
Put your name down for the review code. No one else wants it.
Don't. There's going to be enough arguing with me and James going for it. So.
That's the only ones we hear about. Wait till everyone gets it. Yeah, sorry, William.
Let me put it this way. If you don't put your names down for Starfield, I'll leave my name off for Diablo. Just saying.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll make that deal with you now, mate.
Good. There you go. Good. Also, very interesting little bit of news. The first 1,000 players to reach the hardcore level 100 will be immortalized in the game forever.
Yep, that sounds entirely impossible because hardcore mode is very, very tricky. For those of you that don't know, hardcore mode is basically if you die, your character is deleted and you start again from level 1. So
Good.
That's why it's called hardcore.
Yeah, good. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that. It is getting some great reviews. Layers of Fear, which is coming out on the 15th. This is the Unreal Engine 5 updated version. It's the first two games, but I think they've got a remake of those games, but also they kind of melded it in through this new DLC and a new chapter called The Writer, which is, I think they're linking it all together. I mean, I love Layers of Fear. I think I might have reviewed one of the games back in the day, maybe two. Yes, it's brilliant. I'm really looking for. I love the Bloober team. I love what they do. I love this game. It's just an amazing kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got a feeling this might come to Game Pass. This might be a drop suddenly. I don't know why. It's coming out on the 15th. I might get that. Suddenly might announce that. I don't know why. I think this.
That is tough. Bloober team definitely had a few there. They had Layers, they had Observer, they had what was it?
The one you reviewed in the medium?
Blair Witch in the medium.
Yeah.
Thank you. But then aren't they doing Silent Hill 2 now, which is Sony exclusive?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope things are still going well with them in Xbox, because I really love their stuff.
Yeah, it's great. Look forward to that. It's 15th. F1 23. Yeah, people seem to like that. It's coming out.
I liked it back in 2013, and it was the same game every year, so just played the old one, guys.
Yeah. Neil likes these, doesn't he? He plays these.
It certainly does.
It's a little story mode. Part Beyond, that looks kind of interesting. I think Richard was a big fan of that. He was talking about that before, the little sim game. James, do you fancy this? Good little park?
I don't think I have the time to commit to it. I wish I did, because it looks my kind of game, a sim game. But yeah, no, I just don't have the time. I don't want to look at it anymore because it'll tease me. Tease me in.
You haven't got the time. You're not going to be working there. You're just going to be playing it for a bit.
You've got to manage the whole park. Serious business.
Not in real time.
Well, you don't know. That could be an option.
That could be an option, couldn't it? Yeah.
But keep the staff happy.
Paul, do you like you? Paul, you hate sim games, don't you, Paul?
I'm not massively excited about this one. I have to be honest. It could be okay, but it's just it all looks a bit daft for me. I'm not one of these sit there and twiddle with every little thing. You know, I couldn't do like a sim airport kind
Unless
of
it's
game.
a car.
Unless it's a car, in which case I'll sit there and fiddle till the cows come home. Yeah, it's not really one for me, I don't think.
I'm reviewing a game at the moment that I'm doing an aquarium in a bedroom, setting that up. That's a great sim game experience. It's the kind of thing you want. Good. William, do you fancy the Part Beyond? That your cup of tea?
I like these games well enough. I liked Planet Coaster. I really liked Roller Coaster Tycoon, the original trilogy on the PC. So, yeah, no, I think this could be good fun. It all comes down to how they adapt it to the controller, at least, because that's where these games tend to struggle usually on console. I'm sure I'll love it on PC at any rate, but
yeah, they're getting better. They're getting better. Yeah, they're getting better on that UI. And the next one is Paul, Aliens Bloody something. Descent, is it? Is it called?
Aliens Dark Descent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be splendid. It's going to be a triumph, and I will not hear a word against it. It looks almost as good as Fireteam Elite.
Unbelievable. It's a turn-based game, isn't it? It's a turn-based tactical game.
It is. That's what makes it exciting, because it's going. I've played games like this before in the Warhammer universe with like the Gene Stealers and stuff. So doing that with colonial marines against aliens, it's going to be very good indeed.
Yeah, I know that's for Paul. And then we just go through the rest of them. Crash Team Rumble. I think Darren was doing a bit about that. I have no interest in that.
No, it's zero.
Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, which is the Life is Strange maker. That's just come out on PC. That is kind of interesting.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, I fancy this. I didn't know it was coming to. It's definitely out on PC, isn't it? And on Switch, maybe definitely coming to consoles this month. But you play. It's kind of alternate dimensions. It looks really interesting, and Life is Strange makers are very good. Then we got a couple more, which is Super Mega Baseball 4. We've played that before. That goes on, and
the third one.
Yeah. And the Dodoing, which is coming to Game Pass on the 11th. It's amazingly kind of little watercolour kind of adventure, like a little sketchbook. Almost like a Studio Ghibli piece. It's a game that I like. It looks like kind of a little
It's
adventure.
Game Pass too, right?
Yeah. I think it's on the 13th or the 11th. So it's great. Yeah, and that's all. Have I missed one out? I've missed one out.
Yeah,
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Tell me about that, James.
Well, I can't, 'cause I don't know much about it. But I do know that it's made by the same guy that did Ace Attorney. And that's a really, really good game. So I'm interested in this.
Good.
It suits you with a ghost. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, there are 13 Xbox games that we're looking forward to on the Xbox Hub, but we have got another game that's coming out in June on the other side. Of course, is Final Fantasy 16. It's coming out on the 22nd. That's another June. I think I'm going to get this. I'm getting more excited about it. The Adventures of Clive. William, you're a PlayStation person. Do you think you're going to get this? You're a Final Fantasy person?
I am a PlayStation person, but I'm not quite sold on Final Fantasy 16 yet. But That said, I am certainly hoping to be won over. I'm glad to see them going back to medieval. I quite like that. It just doesn't. It seems to be looking a bit more actiony, a bit less RPG, which is a bad thing, but not necessarily what I'm hoping for in a Final Fantasy. I don't know.
I think some of the previews. I think some of the people who have played the first 3 hours, they haven't got to a point in the first 3 hours when it's open world yet. It's much more like fight, an hour cutscene, fight, an hour cutscene. So, and that doesn't happen in other fantasy games when they don't get going for a while. You don't get into the open world bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The bits that I've seen of the kind of the worlds, it's drawn me in. I'm excited about that. Good. There are games. Gentlemen, this is very good. We're looking forward to June. July, there's lots of games coming. But what are we looking forward to next week? James, what are you looking forward to?
It's the first ever major cup final between Manchester United and Manchester City this weekend.
Oh.
So I'll be enjoying that on the telly. Yeah, that's it really for the next week.
That's it, that's a lot.
Oh, some showcases.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, yeah. Paul, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
It's all Diablo 4 for me, to be honest. That's what I'm really looking forward to next week. I mean, obviously I'm going fishing at the weekend and stuff, but yeah, Diablo 4 and a dust up with James in the car park about who gets to review it.
Oh, you wait, they're all going to be
there.
there.
Him in the car park. I'm really playing it.
Yeah. I might put my name down as well, just to get in the mix.
I don't think it's a game for you, Gary.
And
I think it'll be too scary for James. Yeah. So
there you go. Has it still got cows in it? Has it got cows in that game?
I don't know, mate. I've not played it yet.
Yeah, it had cows in the other one, didn't it?
It did. The secret cow level.
Good. William, what are you looking forward to?
Obviously, the showcases as well. A lot going on there. And then I have tickets to Spider-Verse tomorrow. I clipped coupons, so I get to see it in the move-in seats and everything for pretty cheap. I really did like the first one, and this one is supposedly even better, which is surprising. I don't know how to really top that first one, so I'm excited to see how they do it.
Great. Yeah, it does look very good indeed. So, yeah, I think the thing we're looking forward to next week. Now, our times for next week. We're going to be covering the showcases in the next couple of podcasts. Next week, we're going to be a bit later than normal. We're going to record on the Friday, so it probably will come out on Saturday. And we're going to cover the Summer Games show. Is that right? The Jeff Keighley one? Yeah, that's what we're going to do So we're going to cover that one, and then the following week we're going to record on Tuesday, so that'll probably come out on the Wednesday, and then we're going to cover a bigger bumper maybe a 2-hour long one, and that's going to cover the
crikey.
Xbox Showcase. It's going to cover the Starfield Extra Showcase afterwards, and Ubisoft as well. So that's it's going to be exciting. Lots to look forward to then. But for now, gentlemen, if we need to find you, where can we find you? William, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, I believe, at William J. Caruana. Let me just double check that.
Great. You check that while
Yes.
I go to James. Yeah, good. James, what about you? Where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at OKGK.
Good. And Paul, what about you?
I am only on the Twitter, and my handle is at XboxHub.
Great. Brilliant. You can find me at EB1 on Twitter and Twitch. But for now, gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. We had found all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.